This is Tin Caps Baseball on 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM.
Welcome back, everybody, to Tin Caps on Deck, the Tin Caps pregame show brought to you by Hoopy Insurance Services. Hoopy Insurance Services, our family serving your family since 1981. Tin Caps wrapping up a 6-game series with the Dayton Dragons tonight, and I use the word tonight. It's an unusual term for a Sunday. It's the only home night game of the year here at Parkview Field, and part of the reason why is because tomorrow's Memorial Day. I think we'll get the real official reason momentarily, but it's our chance to speak with the president and general manager of the Tin Caps, Mike Nutter. And so, Mike, I opened the door. I'll let you close it. Why are we playing a night game tonight instead of at 105 like usual?
Because as stubborn as even I am, after many years of trying to play at 105 against the Indy 500, what is still the largest single sporting event for in-person attendance every year, we gave up the ghost and a few years ago decided, hey, you know what? Most people are off the following day. Let's make it an evening game. And so fireworks tonight, dinosaur night tonight. We remind people that might be waking their way out to the ballpark. No post-game autographs tonight since it's a night game. But we're over 5,000 tickets sold already, and it should be another nice night at the ballpark.
We've talked about this before, but we'll bring it up again. The weather has been fickle. I'll use that term. We've already lost a couple of dates this year because we've had to make arrangements and play doubleheaders and so forth. With no doubleheaders this week that's ending tonight, but still, you and I talked about this earlier in the week, if Mother Nature had been even a little kinder, I think we both would have seen a lot more people come through the gates.
I agree, Mike. You know, I try and be optimistic. Sometimes it can be frustrating because so much work goes in. And on a night like tonight, where, again, I think we'll play and stuff, but you've got $10,000 outlaid in dinosaur night and fireworks and theme jerseys. And if we could just see that big thing up in the sky that's reported to be the sun, you know, a little more often in April and May. I think on some of these nights, I mean, the promotions have been on point all week. And, you know, maybe you draw an extra 500 or 1,000 people every time. We'll focus on the fact that, hey, we got to play them all so far. Should be the case tonight. And then when we come back again, it's another homestand absolutely loaded. And maybe by then it'll warm up a few more ticks and start to dry out for us.
We normally don't try to talk too much about what's happening on the field, but this has been a strange week in more ways than one. Dayton's one of the better teams in the league this year. And they won on Tuesday night 11-2, and then they went berserk on Wednesday night, and that was a historic night for both teams. Final score 22-8, most runs they've ever scored in a game, most runs Fort Wayne has ever given up in a game. For Tin Cap fans, Wednesday night was extremely tortuous.
Yeah.
And
I mean, the game was, for all intents and purposes, over before we came to bat. And I'm not criticizing our players or anything like that, but that thing was over. And so the great thing about baseball is it's not the NFL and you got to wait a week. So we come back from a couple of tough ones. And again, Tuesday night was 2-1 in the 7th before it got away from us. But then on Thursday, again, no real help from Mother Nature, but to see our buddy Jack Costello hit a walk-off, I mean, as long as you and I have been doing this, those are rare. I mean, they are rare. And so the people that stuck around got rewarded, and we still did the fireworks and stuff, and then we had another nice win the next night. You know, last night didn't go our way. They had a pitcher making his debut that was tough.
Yeah.
And that's about a 6'5", 6'6" lefty throwing 95. That's a tough assignment. I asked our buddy Willie Blair, the Dayton pitching coach, and fans might remember him as our pitching coach, West Michigan's pitching coach. And I said, well, this is great, Willie. You guys are now flying in guys to beat us because we went 2-2 in the first 4 games. We were both laughing. He's a friend. But they've got a big pick going tonight. He's not the official starter because they have a AAA Major League rehab tonight. And then they're bringing in the other guy. And fans might remember him from being at LSU and striking out 17 in a game in the College World Series, I believe. And then also the young Alfredo Duno, the biggest catching prospect in Major League Baseball. And our guy Salas is no slouch. And so it's neat. And again, we have Cash Mayfield, who could be the pitcher of the week again. He could be the pitcher of the month for the high A Midwest League or maybe all of minor league baseball. So I'm not promoting their guys over ours. I just know there's a lot of Reds fans. And if they're still listening to us pregame, they still got time to get out here and see this game and watch the postgame fireworks.
Well, let me go off track for a second. It leads me to a question that I actually got an email from, and of a gentleman that wants to know just exactly what goes into a decision as to whether or not a game is either postponed or just delayed for a period of time.
Yeah, the rule book would state that it's in the hands of the home team's general manager. I don't have that kind of ego. I don't. Many have yelled at me over the years for a rain call. I feel like we do it in collaboration. And so, for example, the other night, Thursday night, the forecast wasn't great, but we did feel like we could get going and maybe get to 8:30 or 9. Well, we played all 9 innings. There were times of that heavy mist, but never really heavy rain. Kind of a miserable night, if we're being honest. But with the shaky forecast the rest of the week, the thought was, let's try and play this one. It was the right call. Doesn't mean it was a fun night, but it was fun for us in the end when we walked it off. So we'll get with the umpires. We'll get with the home manager, the visiting manager. We had one of these against, I believe, Wisconsin, the Timber Rattlers, when they were in. Nick, their manager, was a true pro. Both managers were great. Both umpires were great. You might remember it was a Friday night, but then we had a day game the next day because it was early enough in the year. And I just kept saying, guys, like, I think we can do this. I think we can get this one in. Now, listen, this is not victory laps. Look at me. I've been wrong before. But we do it together. And, there was a time last year against affiliate that will remain nameless from the Tigers, where I was getting a lot of pushback of, well, how sure are you? Are you willing to stake your name and reputation on this? It's like, guys, it's not that big a deal. I'm old enough to remember last year in Bristol with Chase Burns pitching, I think against Chris Sale, with the commissioner of Major League Baseball in there, and they played a half an inning. And I'm not criticizing them in any way, shape, or form. It happens. We're going to make the best call at the time with the info we have and hope it's right. But nobody wears weather decisions, I mean this genuinely, more than minor league general managers. It causes anxiety. It causes stress at an unhealthy level. And I'm not joking around about those subjects, because you've got somebody yelling at you from the home team or the visiting team. And to be clear, neither have happened here lately. But like, we don't want to burn a guy. Well, we don't either. But rosters are 30 people. We've only got 66 opportunities to entertain the fans. And if we believe in it, we're going to go for it. And earlier this year, we had to cancel a game right around game time because there wasn't a chance to play. And so, great question, long-winded answer, but and then once it starts, it's in the hands of the umpires. But they're doing it with Jake Sperry's input, our head groundskeeper, and mine and others, because they're the only two in there in the whole venue that don't have a phone in their pocket,
right,
and are, self-prescribed weather people. And so, knock on wood, it's been a good run so far with the calls, even if the weather has been challenging at times.
Tin Caps back on the road, back at South Bend next week. I know in one way it's a chance for the front office to take an exhale, but after next week, team's right back home. What can our listeners look forward to when Fort Wayne returns to Parkview Field?
Mike, it's go time now. I mean, there were huge promos all 6 games, and it's no different next time coming back. So we welcome the Cleveland Guardians in, the Lake County Captains. Tuesday night, everybody knows about the Family Feast. We've been doing it for a long time with U.S. Foods. But then Wackadoo, you can meet Bluey on Tuesday night when the team comes back into town. Wednesday night, we're playing as the Puffer Bellies. People have loved that from our friends over at Nucor. It's absolutely awesome. Paws and Claws again. Another Thirsty Thursday, more fireworks, another pregame concert. Back Friday night, one of the ones that people circle every year on the calendar, playing as the Fort Wayne Daisies that night with fireworks. Saturday, we're right back at it with another fireworks show. And then Sunday, it returns to our normal family promotion of the post-game autographs from our friends at Midwest Box Break. So 6 games, that homestand against Cleveland, 6 huge promotions. And then before we know it, we'll blink and we'll be in the second half, and we'll be back again. We won't get into that yet, but the following week with the Cubs coming into town and rocking and rolling. And so the Lake Elsinore team below us has got a really talented team. They're trying to keep that one together to see if they can win the first half. And it's one of those things that hopefully the second half around here is a little more dry and a lot more fun, because the Padres are going to do what they can in the second half to get us to the promised land.
Never a dull moment, is there?
There's not a dull moment, but it's cool. And for the listeners, I'm hearing a lot of people that say, hey, what do you think about, where's your daughter? We haven't seen her after 5 years around the venue. Where's your daughter? And I said, she's an intern down with the Chattanooga Lookouts. And so, you know, we want these Dayton players to do well once they get promoted, but not today. I'm kidding. Julio and I become quick friends this week. It's a blast, but Caitlin's down there gaining experience for her career, because she wants to do what Dad does, and she wants to do what Mike Moz does, and she wants to do what the rest of this front office does. And I told her, and I mean this sincerely, there's no joke in it, I think you can be really, really good. It's time to get away from Dad for a little bit. I love her and I miss her every day, but to get some experience where I'm not around, for both of us, for her sake mainly. And so she's down there. So if anybody gets down there to see what I describe as the best ballpark in minor league baseball, look for Caitlin, and she'll give you a tour.
As always, thanks for the time on Sundays.
Thanks, my friend.
That's Tin Cap Team President Mike Nutter. Back with more in a moment on the Tin Caps Radio Network.
Podcasts by Federated Media.